Hello and welcome to the improved stage of the impact cycle. After we have a clear picture of reality, have set peer goals, and have identified and learned strategies that we believe will get us to reach the goal, we are ready now to enter the last phase of the impact cycle, improve. The improved stage is where ideas turn into action and improvement either occurs or does not occur. It may be the most challenging stage of coaching since it demands a high level of imagination, brain power from both teacher and coach. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome to the improved stage of the impact cycle. After we have a clear picture of reality, have a set peers goal, and have identified the learned strategies that we will believe will get us to reach the goal, we are now ready to enter the last phase of the impact cycle, improve. The improved stage is where ideas turn into action and improvement either occur or does not occur. It may be the most challenging stage of coaching since it demands a high level of imaginative brain power from both the teacher and the coach. So let's get into it. In this video, we will go over the improved stage. I will also review the improved stage and the 4 steps, which is confirm direction, review progress, invent improvements, and plan next action. During the improved stage, the coach and the teacher move into a more During the improved stage, the coach and the teacher move through the 4 steps of confirm direction, review progress, invent improvements, and plan next action steps. Through all 4 steps of the improved stage, coach and teacher conversations will focus on one question: did we hit the goal? How a coach and teacher move forward is determined by their answer to that question. If the answer is yes, do you want to continue to refine your use of the practice, choose a new goal, or take a break? If the answer is no, do you want to change the goal, change the way you measure the goal, stick with the strategy as it is, revisit the strategy you teach, or choose a new strategy? If you and the collaborating teacher are on the same page, each conversation should start by asking the teacher about their most pressing concerns. This is vital during the improved stage because we know that teachers are busy people doing complex work, especially now in an educational environment that they may not be used to. Asking these 2 questions will help confirm the direction and progress of the goal. Given the time today, what's the most important thing for us to talk about? And what is on your mind? The first question is a simple way to ensure teachers that they have an equal status in the coaching conversation, and that coaching is for them and the students, not about the coach. It also ensures that the conversation will address any issue that may be on the teacher's mind. The second question is open. It is an invitation to tell you anything and everything and helps people to share what's most important to them. These questions will help lead you into the second step of improvement stage, which is review progress. During the improved stage, the coach and teacher will gather data for 2 reasons: to assess how close a teacher's students have gotten to the goal, and to measure how the teacher is implementing the new strategy. Data reveals how close students and teachers have progressed towards the goal. When goals have been met, the teacher and the coach can plan the next actions. When the goal has not been met, these questions are helpful to moving forward, and you don't have to ask all three of these questions depending on what direction the conversation goes. Please refer to your impact cycle book for more examples on how to navigate the conversation if it continues to go into a negative direction. What has gone well? What did you learn? What roadblocks are you running into? The first question is beginning the conversation with a success. What has gone well? Even if the goal has not been reached, teachers need to be reminded of success they may have experienced while implementing the new strategy. The second question is open. You may or may not have time for this question depending. The question also allows for reflection on the process you both have been experiencing through the coaching experience. That last question is an opportunity to talk through what is keeping the teacher and students from reaching the goal. Sometimes you may need time to reframe the conversation by narrowing the focus away from complaint to compliant to commitment. For example, if a teacher states the biggest roadblock is the students don't care at all about learning, you may want to ask, what would it look like if your students cared about learning? And then after the teacher has answered, what could we do that might move the students in that direction? Remember, we as coaches are trying to guide the teacher and help them be in the driver's seat of implementation and change. Jim Knight has stated that step 3, invent improvements, is the heart of the impact cycle. This is where you and the teacher must work through the roadblocks or the barriers that impede meeting the goal and discover what is needed to do to reach the destination. The reality of improvement is that teachers don't usually hit their goal after one attempt of a new strategy, and that's okay. Both of you may have to step out of your comfort zones and look at the classroom and the student learning from multiple perspectives to invent improvements. Often the coach's job is to help teachers learn and implement teaching strategies while at the same time resisting temptation to tell teachers what to do and resist giving unsolicited advice rather than allowing the teacher to reflect and see for themselves what change needs to happen to meet the goal. When instructional coaches embrace a dialogical stance, they let go of the need to be right to do what's right. That means coaches position their collaborating teacher as the decision maker, offering suggestions only when necessary, and then sharing strategies, asking teachers what they would like to modify within them. To help begin the dialogical approach by asking these questions that foster inquiry. Do you want to keep using the strategy as is? Sometimes you may have identified a great goal and strategy that should move the class to the goal. The teacher may be tempted to change the strategy when there is no progress, but sometimes the best plan is to wait for the strategy to have more of an impact. Some strategies take a while to have impact. Do you want to revisit how you use the strategy? During the learn stage, the coach and the teacher determine how a strategy will be used. Once it is used and it is clear that adaptations need to be made, the coach and the teacher can revisit. You can determine this after watching the video lesson or after assessment. The strategy also needs to be accessible to all students. You may need to make modifications to the materials and how students access the content. Do you want to choose a new strategy? It is difficult to determine how a strategy will work until it is implemented. Sometimes the strategy misses the mark and a decision is made to change the new learning strategy. If so, you will need to repeat most of the learn stage. Once a new strategy is determined, A teacher will have to adapt it to meet the needs of all students. Do you want to change how you measure progress towards the goal? Remember that strategy that you use to measure the goal is just as important as this learning strategy. An effective measure should be valid, meaning what is supposed to be measured, and reliable, yielding the same result when used correctly by different people. Do you want to change the goal? Once you watch the video and make changes in the learning environment, you both may realize that the goal needs to be changed. It depends on the conversation with the teacher on why the goal needs to be changed. According to Gluberman and Zimmerman, there are 3 types of tasks: simple, complicated, and complex. The present goal could be challenging or not challenging enough. Changing the goal is okay. So in Schoology, there will be an activity for you to read kinds of tasks on page 100 of the reflection guide. So answer those questions about your experience as to when you may have had to change the direction of a goal or strategy, and why you and the collaborating teacher made that decision. And what was the outcome? Every person plans differently, but when it comes to coaching, it may be better to write things down and establish 3 things: the date and time of the next meeting, identify the tasks to be done prior, and estimate when the task will be completed and by whom. The coaching planning form used by Jim Knight is available on Schoology. These questions will help you plan for your next meeting date. When should we meet again? When planning the next scheduled meeting, you don't want to make it too far out. Meeting within 1 week maintains focus and fast response when strategies are not successful. What tasks must be done before we meet again? And when will they happen? And who will do them? When discussing tasks to be done, make sure that the teacher is guided by you and they determine when each task will be completed. You will then document the who and the when. On a scale of 1 to 5, how committed are you to this goal now? Before concluding the meeting, you should get a pulse on where the teacher, your collaborating teacher, is as the goals and the strategies are changing. When the teacher's commitment drops, you and the teacher should explore whether you are headed in the right direction and if something needs to change before you start the impact cycle again. Your next activity in Schoology is to read about what Jim Knight calls the dip on page 102 of your reflection guide, and answer the discussion questions in Schoology about what you do to help teachers get through those rough patches of this process. If you have any questions about this stage in Schoology, please don't hesitate to reach out to your patent consultant. Thank you.